I've had the pleasure of watching your first YouTube video. That was pretty awesome.
Lol.
Was it unlisted? I think you sent me the link.
Maybe.
I think we were talking about like it's kind of just crazy to see where we started, where we are now. I think all three of us have exceeded all of our wildest expectations of, but whether it's hustle, the YouTube channel, for me, HWPO, they've all grown. But we were talking about the progress, and you sent me a link of like, everyone starts somewhere. You sent me a link of your first YouTube video.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy. Like we had the Bieber hair. I think you were working out with your sister.
No beard.
Yeah, no beard.
No
I used
beard.
to wear
That's
stringers.
the thing that freaks me out the most is the no beard. I'm like, oh no.
One day, if I ever want to get rid of Jazz, I'm coming in and getting rid of it.
It's
And she'll be like-
no beard, and then the shirt where like it's only like that little piece at the bottom that's attaching
Yeah,
There we
and
go.
the nipples.
out all the time.
Yeah. We've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Too many times.
Everyone can joke on it. We've all done it. Yeah. We've all had that phase.
Looking back at old photos is one of the most cringeworthy things. You're like, why was that my style?
Yes. Oh my God. I was actually talking about this with some other people. I went through my old email, the email I've had since I was like 12 years old. And I used to like, if I took a picture, I would email it to myself so that even if I lost my phone or something, I still had all the pictures. And I was going through some of these old photos from like 2012, 2013. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I was so cool.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're looking at the outfit and like, I remember my dad being like, yeah, you look like an idiot, but if you want to leave the house looking like that, feel free. I'm like, Dad, you don't get it. You don't know what's cool. Yeah. And you see it, you're like, oh my God, I look like an idiot.
I straightened my fringe at one point.
Was that at school?
I literally, before school, every day would turn
Oh,
on the
this is an
straighteners,
everyday thing. This
straighten
wasn't
my
like a
fringe.
That's
man.
I mean, I
How far
So
you've
bad.
come.
I know.
How far
I really
you've
need
come.
to find a photo so you can insert it because it's terrible.
I found a couple photos very similar. I'm not going to incriminate myself the same way because, man, they were embarrassing.
No, so actually, there's something. So we were just out with Justin, but I challenged people. So if they could find, so basically, TeamRICHEY was like my first YouTube venture where I was like, this is my channel that I'm going to grow. But before that, me and my friend made singing videos on YouTube that are still there.
even I have
We
never
did covers
seen them.
with a guitar. I was the lead. He was the rapper. If you find it, fair play. They are still there. I have looked. And it's like, that was my intro to YouTube.
That's amazing. Like lip syncing?
No, singing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you singing.
Justin
Craig
Bieber was
can
getting big at the
actually
time.
sing really good.
Yeah.
I thought he made it off YouTube. It's now my turn.
Did he make it off YouTube?
Yeah, he got found on YouTube.
Oh,
he did
no
a cover,
kidding.
and then he got spotted, I think, by Simon Cowell or something, and then took him under a wing and blew him up.
Oh, I had no idea. The more you know.
So then I was like, I'm going to do this too. They're still there.
So then you guys like you're obviously known primarily for your YouTube. I'm trying to think back to like when we first connected.
It was, so this is actually a cool story because for me, it's like the coolest thing ever. I feel like we got introduced through Tia because Shane watched the videos.
Okay.
So then Shane, we met up with Wadapalooza and then we went on holiday with them the week after just because it was like, we were like, all right, cool, we're going, you want to come to it?
Yeah.
And then like we built trust with them and then they were like, oh, we need to introduce you to Matt. So
Yeah.
we came, I don't know if we came to your house. I think we did.
Man,
But then it was from there. And then we did the house tour. So that's my most watched video.
was that the first time that
I don't know.
we hung
But
out?
I feel like that's like the proper first time we hung out.
Huh.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been friends for so long now that you don't forget the first time that you hung out. I feel like I've always known you.
Yeah, I think one of our first interactions, I watch your videos all the time, and I remember there was one thing where like I was like, okay, well, like that wasn't totally right or true or whatever, and I locked horns with some other people where like your natural thing is like, dude, you're lying about me. Like, why would you do that? Like, you're dragging my name through mud, like whatever it is. And then I realized, I'm like, oh well, they don't know. Like, and so I started reaching out to people doing content similar to yours. And I was like, hey, like just a heads up, like this was inaccurate in your video. Please, like, here's my phone number. If you have any questions, like I'd rather have the inconvenience of like having to take a phone call and explain something rather than having something incorrect out in the world, whether it was intended or not. And so I think I may have done that with you, like shot you my phone number and just been like, hey man, any questions ever, I'd rather you hear it from the
I
horse's
think I remember
mouth.
that DM, but it was so long ago. You know, because especially with the YouTube channel that we have, I don't want controversy on it. Like, I don't, that's not, like, I want to make athletes look the best. I want to share the news. I want to build the sport. I want to build the people around it. I want to bring them up.
Yeah.
So,
Well-
like, for me, it's always like trying to say good news. And then it's like,
Well, and then as well, like if you make it your job, you're like, my goal is to make everyone that comes on my channel look as good as possible, you know, show, you know, their personality highlight or make them look good in the gym. Well, then you're going to get invited to more and more places. Like, I think you're friends with a huge portion of the community.
Yeah.
Like, because they've seen what you do and how you interact with other athletes. And so they know, like, hey, if you're coming into town to film, you're not a nuisance. You're not going to, you know, expose secrets or stir the
I'd
pot.
like to think that people think that of us, because I just think it's like naturally to us, like we're just pretty chill and we're not very drama people
Yeah.
just anyway, outside of anything else. We
Yeah.
never have been. So it's just, that's how we just prefer
and
life to be in
we're very
general.
British. You know, when I don't know if you could swear on this podcast, but we're no bull, you know,
Yeah.
like we're just like, and especially for me, like sometimes I still have it is like imposter syndrome. I don't want to be a nuisance for anyone. I'm like, is it cool if we come over? Like sometimes, you know, like I'm not that person that's going to hold on to your t-shirt and be like, look, I need guiding.
I'm the same way where it's like, I remember where I started and I realize how ridiculous it is to think like, if I'm only looking at where I was 10 years ago and today, it's like, oh my God, this is crazy. But it's a little tiny bit every day. But I remember when this wasn't a thing. And I'm always assuming, I'm like, it's all going to get taken away tomorrow. Something's going to happen. And it's like, I'm going to show up tomorrow and not going to have an office or something. And it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing of, you know, showing up somewhere and you're like, is it okay that I'm
It's
here?
a
I don't
weird
like
perspective. I find it weird with mentality wise. It's like people look at you and me now and they're like, oh, you're the bigger people in the space. You're like, you've done it in YouTube. You're friends with all these people. And I'm like, yeah, I am. But like, I never want to be a nuisance. You know, like when we turn up, I'm like, oh, Matt, can you just take me around the gym bit, you know? And I'm like, but no worries if you don't, you know, like we still have that. Like, I don't want to ever feel like someone's there and they're like, he was annoying.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, you always trend to the extreme the other way.
That mindset too is sometimes what gets me, especially when I'm creating videos, into a real like lull, because I'm like, am I good enough? I'd like, is what I'm creating good enough? Is anyone care anymore? Like, do people actually want us to go out there and hang out? Like then, especially when you're at home and you're editing videos and you have a good stint at home, like Jazz knows it. I'll go into like my own little like hole and I'm like, oh, and then that's why sometimes these trips are good for us because it's like, oh no. Like you come here and you make us feel so welcome. Like Sammy does, the whole team does. Like the athletes when we walked in the other day.
Yeah.
Like Kat and Amanda on the bike are just like, hey, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like such a nice feeling that like, because I say it all the time to you guys and whatever. It's like if you said come in but don't bring the camera, you know, we would still be here because we enjoy it and we like hanging out. And it's like we count you as friends. It's not like having a camera and making content and making you guys look cool and telling stories for people on YouTube is like just the added bonus of like, oh, that's pretty nice.
But that's like we've all got our own stuff going on, like whether it's training programs, clothing, you know, just like sponsorships, whatever it is. And it's like we're here because you're our friends, and it's cool to see friends do well, regardless of anything else. So I think it's really nice to kind of get to that point, you know, regardless of what any of us have going on.
And I think too, like this kind of ties into something else I want to talk about was, you know, like we're all very like-minded. You know, it's hard to find somebody that was in that gym. I think we had probably well over 100 people in there. It's very hard to find somebody that they care about themselves and they're putting in the work physically and then not in the other areas of their life. Yeah. And so it's just so easy to find some commonality, even if you're in completely different jobs, worlds, whatever it is. But that kind of ties into, you know, for myself, I just want to work with people that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like one of the first, I think the only desk job that I had, I knew I wasn't the most qualified guy handing in a resume. But I remember my boss who was picking the person he was like, dude, you have to spend 9 hours a day with this person. He's like, you have a 3.6 or a 4.0 GPA. He's like, I don't care. He's like, you're both smart, but I want to spend 9 hours with the person that I enjoy. And it's kind of the same thing with, you know, different business ventures, different trips, anything like that. And so like with Podium, it's kind of the same thing. There was the group of us that started it and it was like, who can we bring on? Who can we bring in as ambassadors or whatever it is? My first thought was, I was like, you guys, like Craig and Justin Medeiros. I'm like, I've spent time with both. You guys are both fucking awesome. You're both amazing at what you do. And so for me, it was just like, no, I just want to work with people that I enjoy spending time with, you know?
I get that fully.
That's kind
And
of
the thing is,
for Hustle as well, isn't it?
it's that as well, but also like we were talking about it the other day. It's like the people that we hang around with at home, like in our box, like Jack, he's a fireman and owns the box. Like he's out there building like
These high
businesses,
high
whatever.
achiever.
Yeah. Josh, he's like, now he's so passionate about coffee. He trains with us. He's like, now he has Nottingham Coffee Festival, which is his festival in the middle of Nottingham. And now he's opening up his own coffee shop. And we're with these people that have the same sort of like mindset of like, oh, cool, like we train, but also we want to do other stuff outside of it.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
It's cool that everyone's like so driven and you don't have to be going towards the same things, but you're all kind of striving to achieve more and wanting different things.
You know, very similar, like even on the athletic side, like obviously here, it's CrossFit gym. That's its number one priority. That's its number one goal. That's probably who's going to be in here the most is CrossFitters. But my ideal plan, I'm like, I want weightlifters, strongmen, power lifters. Like we all use the same equipment. We all use the same space.
You left out the mirrors. You didn't say bodybuilders.
Because we know the equipment in there isn't in its final resting spot.
Yeah.
Like I was saying this to someone earlier. I'm like, you can make your living room as cool as possible. Everyone's going to hang out in the kitchen anyways. And so I was like, let's just give it a couple weeks and see where the kitchen ends up being. And then we will reconfigure some equipment. But we just want to see where things naturally fit. And so some of the stuff, I'm sure half of it's going to get moved, but then the mirrors and the whole like little bodybuilding section, mirrors are going in. But we want to give it a couple weeks to see if that's a good spot for it before we hung stuff like that up.
Not everybody would congregate in an English kitchen, I'll tell you that. What? English kitchens are small.
Well, and I don't know, it's a good...
I know, like
the house.
I was saying this because I was shooting like just a tour video, just like I got a load of the different hard work pays off people to take us around, and I was like, it's so cool because it's obviously you've only had like the keys and been doing it up with the Rogue rig and whatever for like a week, and it feels like it's like this is like the blank canvas now. You got the rig in, like every room is assigned to what it's supposed to be, and I'm like, I can't wait to come back in like 6 months or a year when you've like. It's like having a house. You move the fridge in, you move the TV in, the sofa, the bed, the things that like you got to live.
The big ticket items.
And then you're like, right, we're just going to make this the sickest place on earth, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know how I can get more sick, to be honest. I was enjoying it, but you know, like.
Yeah. So, you know, like I was saying before, you know, athletes don't have to be training in the same sport to be a benefit to each other. Yeah. You know, like whether you're a weightlifter, power lifter, bodybuilder, whatever you are, like, all right, we're using the same space. We use most of the same equipment. We have like the recovery station, like cold tubs, hot tubs, saunas, like every sport's using them. So we're just trying to create a place that, you know, whatever, if you're in a barbell sport or a strength sport, I want this to be the place. So it was super cool. Our first training session, I walked in the front door, you know, back from my office, something. And, you know, there's Rob Kearney, one of the world's strongest men, deadlifting. There's Maddie Rogers, one of the top ranked Olympic weightlifters. She's snatching. And then we got like 3 or 4 games athletes all just going hard.
But this is where sometimes as well it's cool because cross-pollination. It's like, all right, like I need to have a bit of help with my barbell stuff, you know, like say if Amanda or anyone did. And it's like, cool. Like we have someone here that is perfect to make you better.
Exactly. And like we already see some of it with, you know, the easy example is like in CrossFit, we do everything. But, you know, the strongman implements where it's like, all right, Rob is obviously going to step in, teach us how to pick a bag or pick a stone properly, that type of stuff. But then like Rob just started working with the new coach, and his new coach is having him do cardio. And so like now we're able to contribute to him. Like he's jumping on a ski erg and pulling a 2,000 meter time trial. And we're like, hey, this might help you. It's like, yeah, we all have the resources. Each person's a specialist in something else. But if we're all willing to help each other, we can go pretty far.
Help each other grow, for sure.
Rob is, by the way, a gentle giant, isn't he?
He's so nice.
He's like, hi.
He's
and
such a nice guy.
Hi.
It's so funny. We were at the Arnold, and I hadn't met Rob yet, and it was the Arnold during COVID where they shut it down to spectators, so it was only coaches and family. So, everyone just has like a coach's badge on. But we're sitting there, and the strongman spectators are just so thin. And so, anyways, they're doing all the introductions, and everyone's walking out their flag. It's Brian Shaw from the United States, and this and that. And they go, Rob Kearney. And as he walks by, he walks right in front of Sammy, and Sammy goes, Robbie? They knew each other from college.
That is wild.
And so she was like, so you compete in strongman now? And he's like, yep. Like, started CrossFit like in 2012. I think his first time deadlifting, he pulled like 500 or 600 pounds. And the coach was like, I think I have a better sport for you. But yeah, he did CrossFit. But he was like 205, found a passion in strongman, still coaches CrossFit 3 days a week, still does CrossFit as his conditioning. So it's pretty comical seeing, I think he's like 5'8", 285 or so.
Yeah, because we had Eddie Hall come to our house and he was massive.
Yeah.
Like huge.
Yeah, like,
and then
we
when I
weren't
see
sure if
like
he was
Rob, I'm
gonna
like,
fit through
you
the
are
door.
not as like
So-
you look small. Like
so-
not in like he's obviously massive, but like compared, you put him next to these other strong men.
He's, I think, 5'8" or 5'9", but he competes at 285. And then you have Thor and Brian Shaw that have competed upwards to 440. They're 6'8", and then like 440 to 450. I think at their peak, I think typically they're a little bit lower. But like they compete against each other. Yeah. They are a full foot difference. Like the weight discrepancy is wild. But I've gotten to know Brian Shaw a little bit. And before our European tour, we were in Colorado, went to his place because he has a nice facility on his property. So I wanted to go just check it out. So he drove us to the airport. He's driving a big truck, like full-size truck. His knees are still up here like this. Like, oh my God, that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
But like you hug the guy and it's like he's hugging an infant, just like, hi. Like, oh my God, you're huge.
I saw the one video that really stood out to me on YouTube. It was like, I don't know what it was, but it was Brian Shaw meeting Phil Heath. Obviously the photos of Phil Heath, when he's Mr. Olympia, he's absolutely gigantic. He looks like it anyway. And then they meet up and I'm like, oh man, Phil Heath is tiny.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like you see the Kevin Hart and Rock, and then the Rock with, who did he take it? Oh, with Shaq, and then Shaq with Yao Ming. And it's like, by the end, it's like Yao Ming is double the height of Kevin Hart, but it's like, there's always someone bigger.
Yeah.
And you meet Thor and he's 6'8". You meet his dad who's 6'9". You meet his dad who's 6'10", and you're like, oh my God.
You are descendants of Iceland.
If we ever have children, they don't have.
They
those
won't reach
genes,
6
I'm
foot.
afraid.
Oh, dude, Sam and I were like, dude, our kid's going to play weight class sports only.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, kid. Your mom's 4'11", your dad's 5'6", and we both got big butts. So
here's a question. What sport would you pick? Like, obviously they can make their own choice, like how it's going to be. But like, if you were like, as a dad, thinking ahead, you're like, what sport are you going to pick? Like, if you could pick any, you're like, I want my kid to be the best at this.
So genuinely don't care what our kids do.
Yeah.
They have to do something.
Yeah.
Like whether it's music, art, sports, I don't care. If I had my pick, wrestling. I want my little baby girl just walking out there and just being tough. You know? Like when I lived out at the training center in Colorado and Michigan, like I lived on the floor with primarily the wrestling teams, and Colorado was Greco-Roman because they weren't in college, but then Northern Michigan, I think it's folk style, but so half the team is girls, and I just love the vibe, just gritty girls that they're like, no, like I can do this.
Yeah, I can handle myself.
And you talk to every single one of them, like, it's not a typical sport that a girl would pick. So the question always is like, how'd you get into it? I'm interested. And most of the time it was, all my brothers wrestled and I always wanted to, but I just love that they're like, nope, there was no girls wrestling team in high school. So I just wrestled the boys. And it's like, good for you. I like that.
That's why I'm
That's
strong.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I reckon you'd be good at wrestling.
I know you always say that.
Honestly, she's got hands for feet. We once had this wrestling match, right, where I wanted the fan on
It wasn't
or something.
supposed to be a wrestling match,
No,
by the
and
way.
I wanted the fan on and she wanted the fan off, and I was 100% committed to turning it off.
We're also both
so
very
I'm there
stubborn.
flicking it off, and I'm like, she ain't getting this. I'm pinned her down. I'm like, you're not getting on. Somehow this I swear it was a finger on the bottom of her foot was just like, "Ch," and I'm like, nah. And it just 20 minutes.
I don't
until
like
gave
losing.
up. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm always like, you'd be good at wrestling.
Fans on.
Yeah.
You'd be a good wrestler. Wrestling was quite funny actually, because when we were at Wadapalooza this year round, it's like jiu-jitsu, but we walked past, and
Jason
Khalipa comes up in these short shorts. You want to do some wrestling? I'm like, no,
Yeah.
not a chance. You are a mammoth of a human.
Dude, I remember asking him, like, I feel like I was with him not too long ago. I don't know, maybe it was over text, but I was like, Jay, how much do you weigh? He was like, 205, 215. It's like, bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, you are 235 minimum.
Yeah.
You are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. He claims he's like right around 210. I was like, yeah, I don't want to roll with you.
I don't believe
like those arms are just so big.
Yeah.
In fairness, that's like you with that photo we saw the other day from pre-CrossFit, and you're exactly the same weight that you are now.
I
But
just
you
look
just
bigger.
look massive.
Really?
Yeah.
But the weight hasn't changed. Yeah,
No.
that's weird.
Yeah. For me, it's like my legs just, especially now with the knee, but just seeing my leg dwindle down in size. I'm like, no.
You're
Like-
gonna have to get a leg extension, like, and a
Oh,
leg curl, and just do the one on the
Yeah,
isolation.
just the
Oh,
one.
I got one of the house.
Yeah.
Got a leg sled, got a leg
Yeah.
extension, hamstring curl. Yeah. Yeah.
Is
I
it-
mean, it's all going to end up over here eventually, but
Yeah.
we had to set priorities. Like we have another rig at the house that Bill and Katie sent me, and it's an outdoor rig, but it looks like a mini version of this one. And it's sitting in the boxes right outside our home gym. I'm like, I would really love that setup for when Bill and Katie come and see. I'm like, I cannot ask Jake and Josh to build another rig or move another piece of equipment for weeks. So I'm like, it'll stay in the boxes for another couple of weeks. Then when the weather's nicer, we'll get it up. But
When I was speaking to O'Keefe, actually, this was a really cool thing about the gym that I really like about the gym, is he's like, that is the training space. This is more the competition space.
Yep.
I like how you set that up. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a secret that we will have to dub out of this.
no, I mean, it's going to show up on camera, but we wanted to provide the best training facility. And part of that is, having the space and being able to replicate competition.
Yeah.
Where, my home gym that, Mal and Jay have trained at for, a year and a half now, it does the trick.
Yeah.
But when you have to do, a 200-foot handstand walk or yoke carry, whatever it is, we only have a 20-foot length. And then if you have two people going at the same time, it's not happening. So, we just wanted to create that space and have enough space, but then also to replicate a competition day. How important that is. Warm-ups, corrals, transitions. You get out on your starting mat and they're like, all right, 2-minute warning. And you're like, shit, what do we do? So we wanted to create a training rig and a competition rig. So leading into competition, especially for the people that, it's becoming more and more often that athletes don't compete in the off season. They just do open semifinals games. That's it. Whereas like my first couple of years, I was hitting local competitions every weekend that I could. I remember I had one, the worst it got for me, I did 6 competitions in 6 weeks and I was thrashed. But with that came all of the experience in the world of competing tired, competing sore, starting a competition with torn hands, being in non-ideal situations. So I got a ton of those reps in. Those competitions have dwindled down. They're not as popular. And these guys are already games athletes.
Yeah.
So it's almost rude to show up to a local comp and just clean
can't
house.
do it. Yeah.
Even though it's like, no, we just want to be here for experience. So I was like, all right, I want it. I'll build it here. So yeah, we have that 2-lane rig. So, prior to semifinals games, whatever it is, we can do like straight up head-to-head competitions. I think we can stretch out the lanes 90 feet in front of the rig. So we can have like the full, like 10, 20-foot transitions all the way through.
It's more the mindset around it too.
Exactly.
Just gets
So-
you like prepared for it.
I want to get like the green mats at the start line. Like I want to replicate it as much as I can so that when the athletes step onto the competition floor, it's one less new thing that they have to address or, deal with. All right, these pull-up bars, the powder coating might be a little bit different, or the transitions, I'm not used to, having a 30-foot transition. I usually just turn around, grab my next piece of equipment. Anything like that, it's like, let's try to remove as many new variables on a competition day as possible. And so we built the rig that they use
That's
in
what
competition.
was like the coolest part for me.
Yeah.
When I walked in the gym and I didn't understand it at the start, and then O'Keefe told me and he was like,
Yeah.
that's what that's for. And I'm like, I fully get it.
Yeah.
That is my second favorite thing, actually, because I love the cable crossover.
Oh yeah, that cable crossover machine is
That cable
nice.
crossover, you haven't stopped banging on about that since we arrived.
Yeah.
He's like, when we do the home gym, we need one of those.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you need.
Cable crossover, pull down, belt squat, and
The innie-outie
reverse
machine.
hyper. And then you want it innie outie. Good girl, bad girl.
All right, we got all of them. We don't have the good girl, bad girl machine yet, but I'm sure it'll be coming.
Craig hates when you go
inward.
in? Yeah. And I'm like, because when you like catch at the bottom of a squat clean, like the next day, it's that like
Yeah, so-
really gets you.
So for me, that was always like a huge weakness of mine, and I actually found a trick on a rower, where so the rower's like off to the side, but you put one knee on the seat. So you pull the seat all the way back, put one knee, and so one leg's extended behind the rower, your knee's on, and you basically go into a split and then pull back in, and so it's kind of like an at-home good girl, bad girl machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we just want to be able to have all that stuff in house. So any athlete that comes to train here, it's a one-stop shop. So got to figure out a swimming lane at some point.
Just out the back.
But I mean, like, there's options. Like, you can get the shipping container, swimming pools, and stuff like that. We'll see how it works in Vermont with winters. But, we're always striving to get better and better and just bring in more and more people.
Also, I felt pressure yesterday, so I lifted yesterday.
Yeah.
And I missed my jerk twice. And he went, congratulations, but soft elbows.
All right, let's clarify. He's only pointing out the negative. He got a power snatch PR at 290.
Yeah.
And then you cleaned 370 multiple times.
Yeah, I feel like I could have gone up a lot yesterday. But when I got into bed last night, I was like, I need to ask Matt, what should I do for these arms? Because you were like, you got to fix them arms. And I'm like, I just like, yeah, I know. And then kind of just walked off and then got into bed last night and I was like,
I never asked how.
Just do every tricep extension, every variation, get that nice elbow lockout and nice snappy elbows.
that's what I'm going to do when I get out of here.
Better elbows.
Cabled downs.
Bulletproof elbows.
Yeah, I did all my bodybuilding stuff while everyone else is doing the
saw.
sweat. I was like, oh, all right, just use the arm bike. Don't bend in the knee. Like, just nice and chill.
Get swole for
I
at the
saw
end.
you. I was jealous. My stomach keeps rumbling actually after doing that squat. I'm like, I hope they can't hear it on here.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let's go eat some food. I am starving.
Last thing, what's next for you?
For like me, personal life or business?
Both. What are you most excited about in the whole entire world for the next year or two?
Oh, baby girl coming in August.
Jazz said that you were super excited when you asked.
Oh,
she was like, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, I am so ready to just be wrapped around a little finger and just like, I just want to love that little baby. So I'm so excited. So she's due 6 days after the game. So, hopefully with first pregnancy, baby comes on time or a little bit late. Hopefully I don't have to, run out of the Alliant Energy Center during Sunday
Sammy,
competition.
I'm coming.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that is, one, I'm excited for all of our athletes and employees to make this home, settle into their offices, settle into the boardrooms, make the gym their space. But yeah, baby girl coming in August, I think that's almost doesn't count. It's kind of an obvious answer, but HWPO, we have a lot of stuff in the works that I am so excited for the world to hear it, see it, experience it. Podium is going to have a huge year this year. I just had a call with Paul and going over like all the new releases, all the stores it's going into. Like
You've tried one of them right here and it's pretty good.
Yep. So, it's just like I'm constantly getting the shipments of like the new flavor testing, new product testing. And, so it's 2020. This year is going to be a big year for Podium, HWPO, my family personally.
And then when you think it can't get bigger,
and then
probably will.
Yeah, like the goal is always to outgrow the space, but I think a very simple thing that I'm really excited for in the next week is walking without a crutch. Progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Even going down to one crutch and not having to, kick my plate of food across the floor to the table. I can carry a cup of coffee now. That's nice. But what about you guys? What's next?
I just want to finish that quickly though, because last night, I think it was last night or the night before, Jazz, when we went home. So this hit me in the heart. Jazz was like, I asked Matt about the baby coming. And she was like, you should have seen his eyes light up. He was like a little kid. It was the most like exciting, like endearing thing ever.
yeah.
And I was like,
I think it's because I didn't ask, but it just like completely unprovoked turned to me and was like, I'm so excited. I was like, oh, you're so
and then, you know, because obviously, like for me personally, you know, coming from a fan, but then a friend as well, it's like people see you as that hardy competitor, you know? Like,
Yeah, you know,
you were
like-
hard. And then just that little bit of like, oh, you know?
Yeah, you know, there's time and place for that. But like that time and place was where 99% of the people exclusively saw me.
Yeah.
But you know, it's been, I could talk on this Sammy being pregnant for an hour, but it's been wild to see, like she kind of makes the adjustment first, but then like for her, like her body's changing, like she's changing into a mother day by day. Whereas for me, I'm like, oh, I'm the same person I was 12 hours ago, you know, all that. But then like Sammy will start feeling the baby kick. And like she felt it for like a full week before I could. And then like the other night, I felt the baby kick for the first time. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, like that's it. That's going to be my life forever, you know? And I'm so ready for it. But yeah, it's just been crazy. The last couple of years, been whirlwinds. We're flying by the seat of our pants trying to figure it out. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
Not at all. I don't know what's next for us. What's the most exciting thing next for us? We wanted to extend our house, but then it's too expensive.
Yeah,
we got
building
planning
costs.
permission, and then there was, a war and Brexit, and
Yeah, like, oh, cool. Yeah, that project
really
you want, it's
expensive now.
3X. Cool.
Yeah, so it's not, but it's fine. We've got such a nice setup at home now that as much as we love traveling, we now enjoy going home as well. So it's like
home
the
is
balance.
the new flex.
Oh,
The longer you can stay home is better.
the balance is so good right now, and like having the dogs and everything, and I don't know, we're just
Just to keep
riding
enjoying
the
it.
wave of life, I suppose.
That's good. That's a good way of putting it.
Last year, honestly, I said it on a video. I didn't enjoy where I was in headspace or anything. Like,
Really?
it wasn't a fun year for me. Like, it was on and off. Like, jazz was amazing, but like, especially for me, I was very up and down. But then, like, this year has been a lot different, I feel like.
I think it was difficult coming back from COVID as well, more so than we anticipated.
Yep.
We're like, oh yeah, we get to see people. This is fun. And then I'll never forget it. We went to the games. That's the year we had to do 2 weeks in Mexico in order to get into the US.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
Somebody started talking to Craig, and Craig was like, and what did Josie say?
Like, spit it out.
Yeah, he was just like, Craig, are you okay?
Yeah, you're
like, have you forgotten how to talk? And Craig's like,
little bit out
it
of
would appear
routine.
so. Yeah, just completely out of practice. Just
No, I want to
talking to
snatch.
people.
I want to snatch more 150. I want to clean and jerk over 180. They're the two things that, like, I don't care if I ever compete again. It's just more for me. It's like I
just wanna
enjoy training.
You just want to hit those benchmarks.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm loving training every day, going in and just hitting the weights. I found like my passion. Like, I didn't enjoy going on intervals on the rower when I was doing CrossFit or whatever, but this is like, I get excited after 3 days off to be like, right, I'm going to lift, you know?
Yeah.
And then
just
just
grow
keep
the
growing the
business.
businesses
Yeah,
and-
grow hustle and see where that goes. And we enjoy doing that. You know, it's nice wearing clothes that you actually design and want to wear. So it's all good. And just, we just kind of go with the flow, don't we, really?
Same old, same old.
Yeah.
Love it.
Until
Well, guys,
next time.
Thank you guys so much for coming out. I can't wait for you guys to spend more time here.
Thank
This
you
is
as always for having
always
us.
a pleasure.
You make us feel so welcome.
Awesome.
You already do.